Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I am your host and beat reporter, and I've been your beat reporter covering the Jacksonville Jaguars for On SI every single day since August 2019, and we're continuing to push together through another offseason. All right, folks, today we are talking about three positions that I think are the most unpredictable for the Jaguars entering the 2026 NFL Draft. Two, you can probably figure out. One, I'm not quite sure is so obvious. Now, there are some positions that are incredibly predictable for the Jaguars in this draft cycle. I think defensive tackle is one of them. I think tight end is one of them. To different extents, I think offensive line and wide receiver are two of them. Just in the sense of it's very clear they're going to attack defensive tackle and tight end. It's very clear at some point they're going to take a receiver. I think it's very clear that with 11 picks at some point, they're not going to go through a draft and not take an offensive lineman. So what positions do I have questions about, both in terms of will they address it at all? When will they address it? Could it be as early as 56 in the top 100? Could they wait until late day 3, maybe not even address it at all? And to me, when I think of those positions, like I said, there was one that probably isn't as obvious and predictable. I believe that's the quarterback position. The Jaguars have certainly been doing their homework on late day 3, undrafted free agent, quarterbacks, that range. I think, would certainly make sense for a team with 3 7th-round picks to consider using one of them on a developmental quarterback. When you have a roster, especially like the Jaguars, where it's tough to see 11 rookies making the team, taking a quarterback late on day 3 is almost like protecting a practice squad spot. It's not uncommon for quarterbacks to get taken. It happened in the 6th round last year. Colin McCord got taken by the Eagles in the 6th round last year, didn't make the roster, and then is essentially the quarterback 3 for the year on the practice squad. So would it be that crazy to think the Jaguars could do it in the 7th round? I don't think so. But then again, how many years have we said, is this the year they're going to add a young arm behind Trevor Lawrence? And do they feel like, frankly, that they want to, the focus of the offense and the staff clearly wouldn't be, developing this guy like he's the franchise quarterback, but do you want to get into the waters of developing a quarterback 3 right now? They can certainly afford to, I think, with 11 picks. You take a guy with one of those 3 7ths, have him compete with Carter Bradley in training camp to be quarterback 3. If he doesn't win the job, then it was just a 7th-round pick. And if he does, you keep him on the practice squad. And maybe, but only maybe, do you have Nick Mullins' replacement eventually? Or the Jaguars could ignore position altogether. They could opt not to take any quarterback. They could opt to roll with Carter Bradley as the quarterback 3 and kind of leave things as is at the quarterback position. Which way will they lean? I think it's a good question to ask because I'm not sure there's an obvious answer. And I think that goes for each of these positions. Next one, linebacker. I understand. I will not criticize anybody in the national media for mocking a linebacker to the Jaguars at number 56. I understand. They lost 2 big-name players, Travis Etienne and Devin Lloyd. Travis Etienne, they seemingly have replacements for, and Chris Rodriguez Jr., Bayshaw Tuna, and LaQuinn Allen. And then Devin Lloyd, if they have an internal replacement, it's Ventrell Miller. So I do not blame anybody or criticize anybody for mocking the Jaguars, the linebacker at number 56, especially if your job is to cover, all 32 teams. I don't think that's a serious offense. I do wonder, though, Because, all the logic says it makes sense. All the logic says, why wouldn't they do it? But I wonder, when you look at James Gladstone's history at the linebacker position, and we've discussed it on the show, we've written about it, has never spent a top 100 pick on the linebacker position in his time as an NFL front office executive. Now, he's picked guys just outside the top 100, but never anybody inside of it. He's never made a significant investment in the position and the draft. I mean, frankly, picking Jack Kaiser in the 4th round last year was arguably one of the biggest investments Gladstone's been a part of when it comes to a linebacker in the draft. So when you consider that, and you consider the fact that, okay, he hasn't really addressed his position, but it's also very clearly the one where, a rookie could come in and win a job and start. There's a lot of intrigue to it. There is. My personal belief, I don't think the Jaguars pick a linebacker until day 3. I think they pick one early on day 3. One of their earlier picks on the day. But I think the Jaguars go through the top 100 without selecting a linebacker. And I don't even think that is necessarily the Jaguars showing commitment or faith in Ventrell Miller, whatever you want to call it. I think Ventrell Miller is going to have to fight to win that job. And I think against a rookie. I don't think Ventrell Miller is write it in stone, the week 1 starting linebacker. Like I said, I think he has to earn that job. But I do believe he at least has a fighting chance. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Jaguars take Jacob Rodriguez or Anthony Hill at number 56. But for right now, I don't expect them to. But that's why that's on here. It's unpredictable. You have people on completely different wavelengths when it comes to the linebacker position in Jacksonville. And I'm fascinated to see where it lands. I think it will tell us a lot. If they don't pick a linebacker early this year, and again, the player, the talent has to match the value. That might not be a linebacker worth picking at number 56. It's not a great position this year, especially in that range. I think it'll tell us a lot about the Jaguars and how they operate. And then finally, running back. And I say running back while believing that Bashal Tune will see an expanded role this year. That Chris Rodriguez will get his fair share of touches in the offense. And that even LaQuinn Allen could see more time than just as a third down, check down option or pass block. But that's why running back is so unpredictable. All the logic of the roster says they probably ignore a position, let DJ Dallas and Jaquindon Jackson come in as the depth running backs of training camp and kind of roll from there. But, look at the backgrounds of the 2 guys running the show. Liam Cohen and James Gladstone. Liam Cohen clearly loves the running back position. Wants several guys at it. Last year, I believe they would have taken Ashton Genty at number 5 if they don't make the Travis Hunter trade. And then obviously Mike Silver has a report with Liam Cohen pounding the table excessively, and profusely for RJ Harvey before he goes off the board before the pick. And then you look at James Gladstone's history position, and you can completely ignore the fact that he drafted 2 running backs last year. Every year he was with the Rams, but the first 2. So I'm talking 2018 through 2024. Every single draft, they took a running back. So would it be that surprising for a team with 11 picks and not with 11 holes to say at some point, let's throw a dart at the position and just kind of see what happens? I don't think so. And I don't even think that would necessarily be indicative or an indictment on Tune and LaQuinn Allen and Rodriguez. But that's why these positions are on here. If it doesn't seem like there are many clear answers, that's because there's not. The Jaguars, they have all the options possible. 11 picks, not that many needs. I mean, they truly are, in my opinion, one of the most unpredictable teams in this month's draft.